The reason 99% of young men are afraid to speak the truth or speak up is because they keep ascending and not descending. And now ascending in this term, it means that you're trying to improve yourself and never destructing yourself and actually do the inner work. If you know the movie Fight Club, Brad Pitt mentioned his words: self improvement is masturbation, now self destruct. Don't improve yourself. You actually have to destruct yourself first. And that's because if you keep on improving yourself first, if you keep on if you keep on ascending upwards and you keep on improving yourself without actually going down first and destructing yourself, it will leave you immature, inexperienced, and arrogant. Now I have a notebook with me here, and I'm going to read the points that I'm going to say to you. In this video, I'm going to tell you how to build unshakable confidence with shadow work. Now, shadow work is actually this unconscious material that you have in yourself, a part of you, a dark side that you actually are unconscious of, that you're not aware of, that is built through your past stories, through events that broke you, like a breakup, or maybe you have a father wound or a mother wound. This thing, it builds that inner part in you that goes out to people, that you project to people and you don't like it. Like, let's say you're a nice guy, or you're scared of being exposed to people, right? That is the unconscious material it's still in you. You just hate it, so you just put it away and you just throw it in a bag, right? Picture this: an invisible bag that you're carrying, right? And it's like burdening you. And inside that bag is full of these wounds and these traumas, childhood traumas that are never truly healed. Now that you are carrying in your invisible bag and you're never letting it out, that forms the shadows in that invisible bag. Like you're carrying it like when a Santa, right, carrying the bag, the brown bag, just dragging it over through the snow, right, trudging the snow with that invisible bag. That bag is full of the wounds that you're trying to drag, and it's like hurting your shoulder if you just sort of like feel it, right? But you're not conscious of it because it's invisible and you're just trying to see what's in front of you, and you never take a step back, or you never pause and stop and actually look back to how that invisible bag is actually hurting your shoulder. What is hurting your shoulder? You don't know, but you're carrying it all the way, right? It's hurting your back, right? You have back pain now. That is the wound that you've been carrying, and the shadows are the unconscious material from the wound that actually comes out from your inner self, and you project it to people. The shadow can affect your confidence. The shadow can be your insecurities, that perhaps you got it from your mother, or from your father, or from your relationships with people, with a woman. Most importantly, every man carries a wound, and that wound can be either from all sorts of wound, but the most important wound is the father wound. Now, the father wound can create the nice guy in you. You just become the people pleaser, right? You don't want to speak the truth. All of this are associated with confidence. Now, there's a story of where I, in campus, where you have to like do a debate, where you have to speak about truth, you have to speak about your own opinion. I would always be the one that's scared to speak about something, to speak up, to speak the truth, to speak my own opinions. Why? Because I'm afraid of being exposed by people. I'm afraid to be seen as vulnerable. I'm afraid to be seen as someone that does not have an opinion. So I back out and I actually go to the toilet, right? And I stay there for a long time, just re-asking questions in my mind, and I overthink about it. Overthink about, okay, if this person says this, what would I say, right? And not letting just natural confidence, natural knowledge just go through me while I'm doing the debate. So this is a very, very important problem. I had this problem a couple of years ago. Well, as in right now, it improved. And I want you to picture this analogy. Picture a sword. A sword that needs to be sharpened, right? Picture a sword, which is yourself. And this sword is going through what we call tempering. And tempering means that the sword undergoes an exposal. The sword gets exposed to fire, right? You burn the sword, and you have that, fire. Oh, there's a sword back there. That's my wooden sword. Imagine a sword being fired, right? Ignited. That sword is on fire, right? This sword is on fire. Just imagine this sword is on fire. To sharpen the sword, you sort of to like make the sword more stronger, more durable, right? You sort of have to temper it. And what does tempering mean? You have to put it inside water. Even though Minecraft, right? When you you put inside water, it has this like tss sound, and it becomes obsidian. It's when you put lava, bucket of lava in bucket of water, and it becomes was it obsidian or something, right? If I'm not mistaken, and you go to netherite. Besides the point. And then you get this tempering. You temper the sword, and water vapor goes out. And so you keep on doing this. You repeat the cycle. You repeat the step of firing, putting it inside the fire, outside, so it's gonna be ignited, and then you put it inside the water for it to be tempered. And so each time you do that, it will get stronger and stronger and stronger, so you're ready and prepared to use it for battle, to slay the dragons, to fight the enemies, right? Let me put this down first. When you descend, you are tempering it with water, with calmness, right? And this descent is the shadow work. Now, remember when I told you about the invisible bag? If you never stop and pause and look back to it, you will keep on carrying it in your life, whether or not you improve yourself or not, right? Whether you just look to the front, you just keep on ascending, you just keep on going up, you just keep on moving forward, and you never pause and look backward, right? That's the descent, which is backward, and ascent, which is forward. Descent means going down, ascent means going up. You never become whole. You never tap into your true self. You will always try to pretend to be a man. You will always try to pretend to be spiritual, pretend to be confident. Now that pretend is not good. Of course it's not good, right? You don't want to pretend to be confident, or else you will have this tension in yourself and pressure in yourself. You will actually become not confident from that. And in this video, we want to be confident. We want to have that unshakable confidence. And how do you do that? Is by taking a step back and looking at that invisible bag. Okay, what are the wounds that affected me? Right? You want to descend down into the water. The fire is when you ascend, when you try to improve yourself, when you try to integrate your positive selves, your archetypes, right? And then tempering it, meaning that you have to go down first and actually look through your inner self. What's happening? And when you're ready, you want to put on the fire again, and you want to ascend. You want to ignite yourself. You want to improve yourself. You want to show what you work through in your inner self to the world. So that's a transition from your inner self to your outer self. From your unconscious material to your conscious material. And so to do the shadow work, the step by step, the shadow work I can talk about the shadow work for days. But I'm going to give you a 4-step framework in order for you to actually go through this in your daily lives whenever you feel not confident, and you can descend all the time when you don't feel confident. So step number 1 is actually recognizing the insecurity. You want to catch the moment when you feel that you feel small, when you feel that you're not speaking the truth about something. Like you want to hold back your opinion. What am I protecting myself from in these moments of, tension? The tension moment where your impulse is you just want to say something, or you just want to do something actively or passively. And then you want to ask yourself first, you want to breathe first, and you want to ask yourself, okay, what happened there? What am I trying to protect myself from in this argument, or in this conversation with someone, or in this debate with someone? And so after you think about that, you want to go into step number 2, which is you want to trace the root. You want to trace the root. The root is the source. Where does this anti-confidence in myself come from? Maybe you were compared to someone else by your mother. Maybe your father criticized you a lot of times and never see your worth, truly your worth. You want to try to find a memory where your worth or your presence or your voice, it sort of get shut down. Because I remember myself back then when I was doing when I was still in primary school. Remember we did math, right, with our mom. My mom would be the math person, right? My dad would be the science person. But my dad was like mostly at work, so my mom is the one who's trying to teach me. Now, my mom she's strict with math, man. I remember crying every time I can't answer a question from the workbook, from the textbook, whether or not it's a homework or we have a test coming up. And my mom, there's this one moment where my dad was just chilling, and so he heard this bang on the door, right? And he went up and checked, and it was me and my mom there doing some math work. My mom was furious. She was raging all there, right? She was like rage quitting basically. She threw like an eraser to the door, and she act all physical and stuff. And so I didn't get physically abused myself, but she was like furious. She was wild and stuff, right? And so my dad had to temper her. My dad was actually mad at her, right, for doing that. And so that sort of left the wound in me. I can't do it. I was trying to ask for help, but my mom was just raging, right? Just furious. And thank God my dad was there. And so that's one memory that I can find as in this moment right now, where finding the source, how we came up, how that confidence go down in right now, in this moment, in today's world, in your age right now. Where was it a couple of years ago or a couple of decades ago that you felt like your worth was shut down by someone or by something or by any event in your life? And now step number 3 is actually to mature and integrate that. After you recognize your insecurity and you trace your root, where does it come from? You want to speak the truth to your own self. You want to say your name, right? My name, Zafaro. I feel you. You're seen. You're worth. You belong in this world. You matter. And so how you actually mature and integrate it after you accept it is that you actually want to now slowly ascend. Now you want to slowly improve. Now you want to learn the divine skill your shadows expose. That anti-confident. How to actually be confident in that moment. And one thing I learned is that you have to actually be calm and grounded, and you have to breathe through it before you respond or act with something. And so you can check that video out where I'll talk about how to be calm and grounded in tense situations, and that you can also apply to the moments where when you feel small, when you're trying to speak the truth but you can't, or you're trying to hold back your opinion. You can watch that video after watching this. Then you want to decide also on how does the healthy version of yourself would respond to this? How does the God conscious version of yourself would respond in this situation? Would God be happy of how I respond in this situation or not? Is it better that I stay calm and grounded in the situation and respond wisely, or I just lash out, right? Or just be passive and act back and step back and back out and go to the toilet and just overthink about my existence, right? You have to actually mature and integrate that yourself. And in step number 4, lastly, which is surrendering it to God. Now, you've already recognized your insecurity, you've traced your roots, you've also matured and integrated. The only thing you can do to actually do this is actually walk with God, because the only one that is going to allow you to perform this maturation and integration is God. So you have to speak the truth to Him, tell Him that you want to fix this confidence in yourself, right? This inner childhood, wound in yourself. You want to ask Him to initiate you and father you. And so this is how you build an unshakable confidence through shadow work. Watch the video here or up there, how to stay calm and grounded in tense situation. Goodbye.